A scion of many worlds. All right, I've got a whole tribe to talk to. Not that it'll be hard. I mean, your whole big plan is to make us stronger, right? Basically. The overall goal is to make Lakran a nearly perfect fortress and recruiting world for the undaunted, meaning it's safer here for everyone and everyone is stronger as well. Yeah, that's going to be a hard sell, oh no. However will I do this? Magrika asks in a tone so drenched in sarcasm that Emmanuel can feel it wash over his ankles. I'm so sorry. I know that this is an enormous burden upon your shoulders, but I have faith that you will be able to bear it. You are, after all, the massive, Emmanuel states, and she cackles. All right. Still, I wonder if there are other things to hunt in nearby worlds. You know, a scout and hunting group for nearby worlds to Lakran would be a hell of a thing. Likely a few years in the future, if not decades, but you'll live to see it. How does that sound? Go to new worlds, scout it out, and find the biggest, baddest beast there and kill. Emmanuel begins to explain, and Magrika's response is to launch up to his face, prove that she can easily find his mouth and give him a deep kiss. Yes! Oh, hell yes! Strange new worlds, strange new animals, killing them. Woo! Magrika announces before flying off towards the distant mountains. Then she doubles back and does a quick circle in the sky above the valley before diving for the portal to her home and zipping through it as a dark blue blur. Well, that's the mountain clans on board. I'll see how quickly I can get a gathering of the Urthani tribes together, and if it takes a while I should be able to speak to representatives from Greenstone and the Goldlands while I wait. Emmanuel begins before he feels someone poking him around his knees. They're a full-body prosthetic, and it looks really, really weird from his antenna, so he turns to look with his actual eyes. It's a small boy in a dark blue outfit that is so oversized it easily conceals all of his major features beyond the fact that they have a standard hominid body structure. He receives a salute so enthusiastic that it sends the tiny figure reeling, which looks really weird as his antenna lets him see all layers of the illusion around the tiny, heavily armed and reinforced little warbot. I've missed something, haven't I? I've missed. Sir! Private stream reporting for duty, sir, the tiny war machine declares. I am your personal assistant and low-profile bodyguard, sir. Excuse me, ma'am. An identical voice states, and everyone turns to find that a second private stream is now saluting Isarisen. Sir, ma'am, private stream reporting for duty, ma'am, sir. Have I missed a joke? Emmanuel asks. Sir, no joke, sir, private stream assures him. Oh, you're adorable, however, I haven't quite seen a machine like you before. The axiom illusion around you is very interesting. Isarisen says as she picks up her private stream under the shoulders and examines him with a very interested gaze. She gets another salute. Ma'am, the endless streams are low-profile bodyguards and assistants to people of importance to the undaunted. You and your soon-to-be husband qualify, ma'am. And what do you do? I'm pretty good at keeping myself alive, you know. I have enormously powerful weapons on me at all times, ma'am. I also have a dedicated researcher whispering in my ear. I can tell you almost anything you would want to know about the galaxy, and can do almost anything you would need in the day-to-day. I'm a do-anything assistant. I am here for your protection, your convenience, and since the person controlling this body is right next to the person controlling the other private stream's body, we can pass messages easily, among many other things. Really? So you have access to a library? Or is it more like a planetary data network? A central one, ma'am. My actual body is on Centris, the galactic heart of political movements. There's so much information here that if it was written really small and printed into books, there would be so many that the shelves to hold them all would cover all of Lakran so deep you'd be too high up to breathe if you stood on the shelves. Ma'am, that's a lot. It is, Private Stream agrees. What do they say about my kind then? What did I do wrong? Why were none of my daughters born like me? Easerizon asks, and Private Stream holds up a finger. "One moment, please," he says, and then he nods. Primal Nagasha are born only under very specific circumstances. While the mother is forming the egg, she must either be in extreme comfort or extreme danger the whole time with no breaks and no switching. Even a sort of bad dream or an unhappy thought can ruin the extreme comfort, but the extreme danger can be ruined if the mother has even a moment to catch her breath, ma'am. Private Stream explains, and Easerizon nods. Yes, that's what I was told. Damn. Even the slightest amount. I have no such comfort because I worry so for my children. I have no such threat because I am too powerful. I will never have a primal daughter. Never is a long time, ma'am. In fact, we've never had a never yet. Private Stream chimes and Easerizon giggles at that silly saying. Very true, little one, she says before thinking. Another question. Another answer, Private Stream answers, and Easerizon suppresses a laugh. She's aware it's all an act, but it's a very endearing one. My daughters and their dear children formed an entire religion around me. How prevalent is that in the galaxy at large? Very. Worship of the primals is one of the most prevalent religions among the Nagasha the galaxy over. The largest one has all known primals as part of one large pantheon. You're in it too. Your title in it is the Daughter of Lost Dreams. Oh, really? I suppose I got that name because I went missing for 1,000 years. Oh, yes. When the nest went missing, there was a big search, but it failed. There were crusades afterwards, but the first person to find it was Dr. Skitterway, but her heads up fell through the cracks. I imagine these people are having a big reaction to news of my survival. They've sent out another fleet, Private Stream says. Oh dear. They're also in heavy debates on whether or not Emmanuel fits into the pantheon and where he fits in if he does. Emmanuel looks over to his own Private Stream. Please tell me that this religion is more aspirational than worshipful. Almost. There are 5 major branches of primal worship. The largest branch, known as primal determinism, believes that each and every primal embodies a great lesson to bring to the galaxy. They're also the ones that give titles to the primals as part of the pantheon. I see. And what are the other 4 branches? Emmanuel asks. Oh, well, the second largest is kind of aspirational, but not really. They think that primals are the rightful leaders of their race, that they are the example to follow, and if the word of a primal goes against the law, then the law loses every time. Useful, but potentially a problem, Emmanuel says. No doubt that branch of this worship will be the one that will jump to the defense of Lakran the swiftest. He really should have paid more attention to Nagasha religion when he was alive the first time through. But he was just so busy back then, learning so much, learning about himself, sciences of all kinds, and just trying to be a person and not a data retention machine. Okay, so past this aspirational division. Primal fundamentalism, Private Stream offers. Right, well, what are the other 3? There is primal ascensionism, Private Stream says. That's one where people believe that primals only truly come into being when a primal soul is ready to emerge, which only happens when sufficient souls that embody the new primal's purpose join together. Emmanuel scrunches his eyes together at that and tries to understand it. It kind of makes sense. It turns the primals themselves into the afterlife in their own way, and it's just weird. He's also fairly certain that things don't actually work like that, but the other direction is so unexplored he can't actually rule it out. He didn't see anything to hint towards it, but he may have been looking in the wrong direction entirely. And the last 2? Primal ancestrism, Private Stream says, and Emmanuel gives him a look. You're just saying primal, using a word at random and adding ISM to the end of it, Emmanuel accuses him. No, really. They're of the belief that primals are the ultimate ancestors, and you can trace yourself back to each of them. that they're the best of the family and the foundation upon which entire species are based upon. I think I poke a hole in that one. Urthani are spread the galaxy over, but I've reached out and touched them all. Which ties into primal exaltism, where the primals are seen as the source of the race's greatest strength, Private Stream says. Which is more akin to observable reality than an actual religion. Yep, one that really likes you, Private Stream says. Of course, you proved it right, sir. The potential unleashed is the title they're pushing for you, Private Stream says. Of course. Now, do we know what the layout of these denominations is in this next fleet? No, but it can be expected to be a pretty thorough mix. There's also dozens of smaller interpretations within each of the 5 major ones, several dozen minor sects, and a few radical sects that consider primals as the things which hog the strength of a species and, well, they're considered radicals for a reason. So, a radical Satanist as imagined by a fundamental Christian. More or less, Private Stream says with a shrug. The general consensus about primals is that there's a good thing, but there's a counterculture. Not to mention there is an entire genre fiction where primals serve as the main antagonists. You make good bad guys, immortal, nearly unstoppable, and always well regarded. Anyone going up against a primal is an automatic underdog, sir. That makes sense. The potential unleashed. I'm not sure it would be wise to lean too far into that. No, I need to stand separate. Let them draw their conclusions and focus on Lachran and the Undaunted, Emmanuel notes. Speaking of, it's time to get back to things. Will you join me on assembling the Urthani tribe so I may speak with them all at once? Of course, it's what I'm here for. Also, do you think the local Urthani will be ascensionists or fundamentalists or maybe determinants? D, none of the above. I want them to see what I've done as a goal to strive for, not some kind of gestalt soul or living lesson. Determinism, then, Private Stream says happily, and he sighs. I'm going to be teaching people, but I don't embody the lesson. I'm a person too. You're still fitting in, Private Stream teases, and he takes a swing. The little guy activates some kind of teleportation matrix in the robot body and is on Emmanuel's opposite side when his claw goes through where Private Stream was. Then he's back the moment the coast is clear. He then lowers the claw and places it on Private Stream's shoulder as he crouches down to the kid's level. I've had my fill of religious talk. While I understand that there's almost no way to stop it, I would prefer it if you help me steer it to my being more an example to follow rather than some god to pray to. Oh, so I get to be Priest Stream? No. Friar Stream? Please no. Abbot Stream? I can tear apart your proxy body with my bare claws. Yes, sir, I understand, sir. Private Stream wails in fear. Don't threaten him, he's just being playful. Easerizon chides him. But he's playing the stupid worship angle. We're people, not gods. I know that, dear. However, Easerizon says as she slithers up to him, we're also setting the example. They look up to us, and whether it's in admiration or worship, we stand above. So we must act a certain way to inspire them, not terrify them. We show them the way and protect. I know, you don't need to tell me. I was playing back. It's sort of different between men and women. Private Stream's in no real danger from me, but the illusion of it is sort of a joke. It's hard to explain, but men can threaten and insult each other, and it's all meant in good fun. That's strange, and it's the reverse of how I've occasionally chided my daughters. I'd praise them for their bravery in making certain choices. They realize quickly I'm actually scolding them for recklessness. Men and women are different. There's nothing wrong with it, but some things get lost in translation, ma'am, Easerizon's Private Stream says with a salute.